bloody hell, I'm going to be late now. I was wondering why nothing was coming up on here. Ooh, easy. Easy. Where are you going?
What's he doing?
I don't know where he's trying to go. What are you after? You after this? You just fart.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I squeezed him a bit too hard. Oh dear. Welcome everyone to the Goblins live show. Here with me, I've got the wifey joining me on today's show. Welcome, wifey. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And yeah, in today's show, we're going to give you the most annoying things that we find drivers doing on UK roads. You ready?
Yes.
Let's roll the intro. How are we doing, wifey?
Yes, I'm good.
You okay?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, been up to anything interesting this week?
Spent some time with my parents, and that's been about it, really.
Yeah, I had a long trip with work over the last couple of days. So went up north, went up to Cumbria for a couple of days. Very long drive, about 4.5 hour drive. So yeah, stayed there the night and came back. It was nice, a nice area with all the Lake District and all that stuff. So yeah, pretty long trip, but you're right there.
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Just hear noises coming from your surface.
Sorry.
Yeah, nothing really new to report, I don't think.
Nope.
Really tired from my trip. So I left around about lunchtime on Tuesday. I got there around about 5 or 6 o'clock. That was the easy bit, because then I could just chill out in the hotel room. And then it was when, so the next day, I got up early to start work at our office there, and I did a whole day's work trying to get this thing done, and I didn't even have a chance to get lunch either, because we were trying to fit in this work into a single day. And then I left at around about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And then, so yeah, I didn't get back to, what time was it, 10:30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's about when.
Because the company hired me a rental car, so I had to go drop off the rental car first, and then the wife here came to pick me up and bring me back home with the little doggy. So yeah, that was a sweet little what are they called? Arrival party. No,
welcoming party.
Welcoming party. That's it. Yeah.
It was really, so it was really freaky because it was obviously quite dark when I picked you up, and the dog sat on my lap once we parked up. I put him on my lap so that he could just see. And he started barking and growling at something, and I couldn't see anything, but it really creeped me out. Like, he knew something was there, or something, I don't know. There was a spirit visiting us, God knows. But yeah, that he did creep me out. And then he saw you, and he wasn't sure, was he, when he saw you? But yeah, I had a wonderful time compared to you, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. No, I haven't been happy the past couple of days. They were really stressful. So
what's better than to moan about things people do to annoy us?
Well, the biggest problem is I've had an absolute brain fart. Absolute brain fart.
I haven't.
So
that helps.
The plan was for this video was to have 5 things. The 5 things that each of us found the most annoying about driver behaviour and things like that. And I thought, oh, this could be easy, this would be easy, and then no, I've drawn a complete blank. I mean, I've got a couple so far, but maybe I'll think of some other things on the way. I mean, you've got a lot of the obvious ones, so people using their phones because it's dangerous.
There might be someone that you're going to say on my list, so don't say them all now.
No, I'm not going to say too many, but there are loads of things, aren't there, that you encounter every single day whenever you get out and drive or whatever, you go out and ride on your motorcycle. There are loads of things that you'll find drivers doing, which either they shouldn't be doing or they shouldn't be doing.
Or they could just be doing what they're doing a little bit better.
Well, there is that.
You know?
Yeah.
Which some of mine are. So I have got 5, actually, to be honest with you.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let you, wifey, take the reins on the first few.
Okay.
And hopefully as the conversation flows, hopefully I can think of I had one other that I was thinking of earlier today and completely left my brain. So hopefully we can figure that one out, but we'll see how we get on. Hey, Pug.
Just changing the order. There we go. Okay.
All right.
Right.
So, wifey, what is your? So we'll go. So number 1 being the most annoying. Number 5 being pretty annoying, but you can live with it. We'll start off from number 5. What's your number 5?
What, my most annoying?
No, your least annoying.
My least annoying.
Your least most annoying.
Okay. I haven't ordered them like that though, so I've just got things that come into my mind.
Okay. Well, on that list then, what do you have on there that you find tolerable? Really annoying, but tolerable.
People who can't park, or people who don't park with their wheels straight. So people who maybe park in a space, say in a supermarket, but they park really close to the line, so you have to then park really close to the other line. That really annoys me. Really irritates me.
Well, I always make the effort, don't I, whenever we're going to a supermarket, to park in one of those bays where next on one of the sides it's got hatch markings.
Yeah.
And what I do is I park across those hatch markings ever so slightly to give ourselves as much room on either side.
But it's not even just that. It's when you think, right, I'm going to go park in one part of the car park. There's nobody in this car. There's loads of spaces everywhere else. And you come back and some idiots parked so close to you, they might as well be in your car.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually one of my dad's pet peeves, is when people park in a bay and they don't have their wheels straight. Because you just know what will happen, don't you? They'll just put the floor down, reversing out of the parking spot, and then the front end of the car will just swing out into your car because they haven't got their wheels straight. It's
not even just like in a supermarket. So even when you drive down a residential street and people haven't got their wheels straight, you have to account for that. If they just did that, I could just drive like a normal person instead of having to wiggle around and. By the way,
guys and gals, make sure to leave your pet peeves in the chat as well, because maybe that's something we can discuss as we go along. So if there's anything that comes to mind straight away, or if you've been out today, gone to work, and something just really annoyed you, make sure to go pop it in the chat, because that's the thing with me. These things happen so often. I get really angry and annoyed at the time, but then I just forget about it because it's not worth thinking about.
Yeah, that really...
Or drawing that much attention to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
That really irritates me, people who cannot park. If you can't reverse park, drive in. If you can't parallel park, find somewhere else to park.
Actually, that does remind me of one thing that I saw happen. We used to own a flat, and from where my office was in the flat, I could see our street. And there were a couple of parking spots outside the window. So I was up and I could see down onto the street. And there was a rather large lady in, I don't know, some old Ford Fiesta. I can't remember which model it is, but so basically she was struggling to get... Bearing in mind, there were no cars along here. So she was the only person that was trying to park in these two spaces. And what she was trying to do was trying to mount the curb, but she didn't know how. So, like a normal person would get as close to the curb as possible, then they would feather the clutch and the gas together to then slowly get yourself over the curb. Yeah, so you're parking on the pavement ever so slightly. Well, this person didn't know how to do that. So instead, they reversed back a little bit and then floored it.
Oh, I remember this.
And then, so they floored it and they basically just crashed into the curb to get up it.
But there's a bush as well, wasn't there? Just at one end of it. At one end of those two parking spaces, there's a bush as well. Yeah. Surprised she didn't end up in there.
Yeah, I mean, well, she was pretty much clear of the bush because she was trying to... I don't know. She was pointing the car directly at the curb, and I thought, oh my God, if that was my car, I'd be fuming. But the fact that this person didn't know how to use their clutch, it just blew my mind.
That's the thing. Like, parking on that road could be a bit of a nightmare if you didn't know how to parallel park, and the road adjacent to it, because...
But she wasn't trying to parallel park. She was going straight onto the curb.
No, but that's what I'm saying. If you don't know how to parallel park, don't.
Yeah, but no, I disagree with that, because parallel parking is one of those things that you need to know how to do. If you don't know how to parallel park, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, learn to do it then before you try.
Because in most towns, cities, streets, whatever, if you're going to try and find somewhere to park, you have to parallel park it. You have to. Literally, you look at any city, any medium, small-sized city, and the only way you're going to be able to find somewhere to park, unless you're paying for a multi-story car park, you are going to have to parallel park it.
Well, but
for me, parallel parking is one of those vital skills.
But even people who parallel park on the side of the street should just park with their wheels straight.
Yeah, of course they should. Yeah.
When I went to my parents the other day, my dad parked on the drive, and my wheels were at an angle, and he had to do it for a reason. But he just said, before you pull off, just straighten your wheels. Just don't take outside the house.
But you've had trouble actually identifying when your wheels are straight or not.
Yeah, but I don't have that anymore.
Do you?
I've learnt that myself now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you still did it.
No.
Before, the wife would put her steering wheel straight, and she would assume that the wheels were straight. But like, it's one of those things that I'm just aware of. I'm aware of the direction of the tires, the direction of the wheels. So to me, I don't even have to think about it. I know when my tires are straight and when they're not straight.
I found it a lot easier now that I reverse park on the bit that I do and I'm straight.
Oh, you know what? I have literally just thought of a way of teaching you that. So basically, instead of stopping, so parking and stopping, then turning your wheels straight, actually turn your wheels straight as you're moving, because then you'll know when you're straight, because the car isn't going from one side or the other as you're moving forwards or backwards. But
also, my reversing camera tells you when I'm straight, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but you didn't have that before on your old car.
No, but now I do.
And you don't have that in the Audi either.
No, but I park the TT without it being like that, don't I?
No, it's just one of those things that I just thought of. That I just thought was funny.
And we grow.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just never one of those things that I'd ever thought about ever. So yeah, I thought it was quite funny. But anyway, wifey, what's your next one then?
Tailgating. Really annoys me. Really, really, really annoys me.
I understand. I want to be devil's advocate for a second, if that's okay with you. So, tailgating is one of those things that most of the time drivers don't have to do, but some drivers, not all by any means, not all of them, but some drivers do it to encourage you, if you're on a motorway, to move over to the inside lane, or they're looking to overtake you. So in that instance, what you're trying to do is you're trying to look for a gap that's big enough to overtake you. And also as well on the motorways, where you get lane hoggers and things that they'll stay in like the outside lane or whatever on the motorway. And they're not moving from that lane even though the inside lanes are free, So from that point of view, it's kind of like telling that person to move over.
I get that, but I don't drive on the motorway very often.
Yeah.
I mean, on an everyday.
Where was it we were going the other day?
Was it yesterday when coming home?
No.
Was it taking you to work?
No. There was. It might have been during my trip actually, but there was someone who had no intent on overtaking me, and they just sat really close.
No, I was with you. It was within the last week.
No, I'm pretty sure this was in the rental car that I was in, because it was like a Citroen DS3 or something.
It happened to us this week.
I remember thinking to myself, excuse me ladies for being sexist, but I thought no self-respecting man would ever buy a Citroen DS3. And bearing in mind, at the time I didn't know whether or not it was a lady, but a bit further down the road, I moved over because I got fed up. I got fed up with them tailgating me. And we were on, it was one of those pieces of roadwork patches on the M5 or M6. I can't remember which motorway I was on at the time. So we were restricted to 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I was going literally as fast as I possibly could. On the sat-nav GPS, it was saying I was doing 53 miles an hour. I didn't really want to go any faster than that because it was an average speed check area. And they were still tailgating me, but I decided to move over just to let them pass to see who it was, and lo and behold, it was a lady. So
I get your point about if you're on the motorway, you know, you want to encourage somebody to move. Like, okay, I get it, but when I'm driving down the road, just on a residential street, I mean, do you want me to stop, open the boot and invite them in? Like, they're that close to me. We might as well be joining. I might as well be towing them.
Yeah.
And it really irritates me. There's no need, especially in the dark when their headlights are then in my rearview mirror. There's no need for it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There are loads of occasions where there are tailgaters and you don't need them. I mean, we're talking just tailgating in general, but if someone rear ends you in a car, it's annoying, but you're probably going to be all right. If someone rear ends you on a bike, you can kiss your ass goodbye.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Especially on motorways and things like that, where if you have to slam your brakes on hard and this person's still doing, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, you know, in behind you.
Yeah.
You're pretty much dead.
Yeah.
So
I've actually added one. Not added one, but I've added an addendum to one that I'm going to bring up next.
Okay.
That you just reminded me of.
So yeah, tailgating is one of those things that I find acceptable if either one, looking to overtake, or two, the inside lanes are free and the driver should be moving over. That's when I find tailgating to be all right, because you're trying to explain to the driver you really shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You know. But
when I was on the motorway yesterday,
and what your intent is as well.
So I've only driven on the motorway 6 times maybe, not very much in the last 4 years, and I don't like the motorway. I don't know why.
Honestly, the motorway is the easiest driving you can do.
It's not being on the motorway. For me, it's joining the motorway. That bit I always find...
It's easy.
No, don't. Because...
okay, joining's harder, I suppose.
Yeah, and I always seem to be doing it in the dark or in the dark and the rain. It always seems to be this situation I'm driving.
But once you're on the motorway, though, it's literally just going straight.
Yeah, on the motorway it's fine. But I was giving myself a pep talk while talking to the dog yesterday. I was like, we can do this, it's fine. We'll be on here and it'll be fine. We have to get off in a minute, it'll be fine. But the thing is, like, once I'm on it, it's fine. But for me, it's the joining that I've always been a little bit nervous about.
I will say one thing. When you have got a car or a bike that has got some horsepower, it's a lot easier.
Well, my car doesn't really, does it?
It's
not bad.
No, it's fine. It's fine for the motorway. Honestly, if you're joining the motorway, on a slip road, you can easily reach 80 maybe even 90 miles an hour on the slip road.
That was it. So I came on to... It was either Tuesday after I dropped you off, or it was Tuesday. I had to go back down the motorway to go over onto my parents. and the car in front were coming onto a slip road to join, I think. They decided they weren't going very fast, and it was really difficult for me to then join in because there wasn't a gap.
Yeah.
So that I was like...
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, though, what you're supposed to do, if you actually physically can't join the motorway, you treat the slip road like a giveaway point.
Well, that's
you have to stop. It's annoying because the whole point of the slip road is to pick up speed, so you're matching the speed of the traffic on the motorway. But when you do get to a point where you can't join, you have to stop. Well,
that's what I did. I started to slow down because I had no option.
I mean, one thing my dad did, and he actually got pulled over by the police for doing this, bearing in mind he is an ex-police officer, and actually at the time he was a serving police officer. There was a line of lorries on the inside lane, as you find, and there was no room for him to move onto the motorway. However, there was a police car that was in the middle lane that could have moved over to allow the lorry to move over to then allow my dad in. They didn't do that. They stayed in the middle lane, and what my dad did was he just went on the hard shoulder.
Yeah.
So he went onto the hard shoulder and basically just joined the motorway from the hard shoulder, which I suppose is something that you could do. I don't think it's legal. But funnily enough, yeah, the cops that were in that middle lane, they saw him do it. So they saw the whole thing. They knew that they could have moved over to allow the lorry space to move over. And that's literally what my dad said to him. He said, "Look, what do you expect? What do you expect me to do if I'm joining the motorway at speed? Like I had no other place to go. You could have moved over to allow this lorry to move over, and I could have got in. But no, you didn't. You didn't let me do that. And apparently, they didn't have an answer, so they just let him go. But yeah, it's just one of those annoying situations. I mean, I suppose that's another thing, isn't it? It's people not letting you onto the motorway. Yeah. Which has happened to me a few times, where people absolutely refuse to move over for you to join.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't really had too many problems joining motorways, to be honest.
I think it's just a confidence thing for me.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been alright for me. But anyway, what's your next one then?
So my third one, I've added an addendum to. Oh, I'm losing. So it's kind of as annoying for me. Both of them I find as annoying. People not indicating and people brake checking. That annoys me. So I was following someone back earlier. I had to go into work to pick something up. So it was on the way home, and I was following a taxi, right? And what they decided to do was there's like an estate of like just like shops and stuff, isn't there? So they decided to go into the slip road that I was going into, and I was indicating, no indication, no brakes, nothing like that. And then there's a first left, which takes you to like some shops and some restaurants, isn't there? And then you can keep going down to where I was going. And he wasn't indicating, and he didn't put his brakes on either. He just slowed his car down and turned. And I was like...
That says to me that he did have his brakes on, but his brake lights weren't working. Still, not an excuse.
Not an excuse, not indicating either.
No, but that sounds like kind of... That's like because engine braking can slow you down pretty good, but it can't slow you down quickly.
Well,
not that,
maybe.
Not very quickly anyway.
But that and people brake checking me really, really irritates me. There's no need for it.
Okay, well, it's funny that you say that, because someone that's brake checking you is usually complaining that you're tailgating them. That's normally the reason why they would do that.
You've seen it. I've come down this road and someone's brake checked in front of me, and I haven't been tailgating them, and I don't get why people do it. What is the point of brake checking someone?
But how can you tell they're brake checking you?
Because their brakes go on really quick and there's nothing in front of them, and then they drive again and then they start doing it again.
I don't know.
What's the point? Where's the need?
I don't know. I've had people brake checking me before, But usually, yeah, I'll admit it's because I'm too close to them. Normally because I'm being impatient or something like that.
Are you a space invader?
Oh God, no! Don't you start saying that. Oh, they're really pushing
That advert's so annoying. But it does make me think.
Space invader. So it's interesting that you mentioned about the indicating, because one of the things that I had written down here was to do with indicating, but I've been very specific. Very specific.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, might be what my one is, but go on.
Well, what I'll do for now, let's have a look at the chat, because we've had a couple of messages in the chat.
It's like an ad break. You just like
yeah.
Like, back in a minute.
So we'll have a look at the chat first, and then I'll say my one. Lone Wolf UK, good to see you. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. He says, "Hey Goblins, the most annoying thing that drivers do, apart from texting while driving, is they move over and wave you past when you can't legally or safely do so." Yes, I 100% agree. So people using their phones is one of those things that I think everyone understands that you shouldn't be doing. And actually, I saw a video a couple of months ago now. It was on one of those compilation videos of crazy things happening to riders, yeah, basically. And there was a lad on a 125cc bike of some kind, and he clearly caught this van driver using his phone. So his phone was on like a hands-free thing, but he was texting or something. He was doing something on his phone, and so he started complaining. He started throwing hand gestures at things like, come on, stop doing this, kind of like, put your phone down, stop using your phone, kind of thing. And then so this van driver got so mad, started chasing this biker, being really obnoxious and moving into his lanes and things like that. And then in the end, the biker ended up pulling over, and the van pulled over in front of him as well. And he denied that he was using his phone. Outright denied it. And I thought to myself, hang on a sec, that doesn't make any sense. This guy's caught you on camera. And the van driver said, I don't care about what you caught on your camera. I wasn't using my phone, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, if you weren't using your phone, then why are you being so defensive? You know? I mean, that guy was a typical twat. Just a typical twat that you see in the UK, that, they just think they just own the roads and what have you, and they're just God's gift on the earth. But yeah, so phone use is one of those things I think that universally everyone understands that you shouldn't be on your phone. I mean, I even feel guilty, like literally as I was doing my trip, when you called me, because I had the phone connected to the hands-free in the rental car. So when you called me on my phone, I was using my phone as a sat-nav, it came through and it came through okay. But when the call ended, it didn't reopen the sat-nav.
How strange.
And I felt guilty just to have to do 2 taps on my phone to try and get the sat-nav back open again. But for me, I felt bad just having to do that, because you still having to take your eye off the road for, even if it's 2 seconds, sometimes 2 seconds is all it takes. I mean, the thing is, I was on the motorway and there wasn't a service station nearby. I think I would have had to have travelled an extra 5-10 minutes. So really what I should have done is continued on to the next service station, then sort out my phone, then continue going. I don't know, guys, come on. It was like 9-10 o'clock at night. I just wanted to get home. But anyway, my point is that I recognise at that time that I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. Yeah. But it's one of those things, spur of the moment, where you don't really think about it. But in reference to people waving you past when it's not legal or safe to do so, I see that so often. One of the biggest ones is when a driver thinks they're being nice to you. So they'll wave you to come out of the junction. You're like parked up at a T-junction waiting to go, right? They'll wave you to go. There's no traffic behind them.
I knew you were going to say that.
So like, what's the point? They might as well, in the time it would have taken them to just keep going, I would have been on the road already. But with me thinking to myself, oh no, there's no one behind you, why would you be letting me in? to then actually getting out in front of these people. It just does. It's like, you're not being nice. You're being inconvenient. Just follow the rules of the road, and everyone's okay. Okay, fine. If there's like backed up traffic or something like that, and there's rush hour or something, and there's traffic going everywhere, and it's kind of gridlocked, then fine, let people in. But when the road is open, I mean, there's no real need to do that whatsoever, is there?
No.
But you see that so often, where people think they're being nice when they're not. They're being stupid. Like, I know that sounds horrible because these people are trying to be nice to you. They're trying to, give way to you and say, yeah, thank you, but no thank you.
Put it this way. You've said it so many times to me. We've been in the car saying, there's no one behind you. What are you doing? Oh, you idiot. And then you obviously drive whatever. That if I see someone trying to come out somewhere, I look and go, there's nothing behind me. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
And but you...
Exactly.
Just because the amount of times you've said it is now ingrained that there's no one behind me. I'm not going to stop.
Well, there you go. I suppose that's one of the ones I should have put down on my list that just completely went out of my brain. But yeah, Lone Wolf says to stop a tailgater when you're riding a bike is to go from lane 3 to lane 1 and back again, like you're testing your handling. So do you understand what he's saying there? Yeah. So obviously, so you like swerving like this, like that. Just test your handling. Oh, that's funny.
Warming up your tyres.
That's funny. Yeah, warming up my tyres. Oh, it's funny the ways how bikers like find ways of protesting, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, to be fair, in that situation where if I'm on a bike and someone's tailgating me, like, what do you do? Do you just pull over, let them go past because they're clearly not worth it, or do you stick to your guns and you know you're doing the right thing? So don't let this person bully you, kind of thing. But then risk, if you have to emergency brake, then you joining them in the car, kind of thing.
Your car becomes a compact with many more passengers than you had.
Yeah, I don't know, because again, we're always taught when in lane positioning on a motorcycle to be as close to the middle of the road as possible to stop people from overtaking you, on stupid places.
With the sun in your eyes.
Right. And so, do you stay in that lane position or do you just let them overtake you? I don't know. I suppose it depends on how obnoxious the driver behind you is being, isn't it?
Yeah.
If they're being really aggressive, and just let them go, kind of thing. Or just twist the throttle back and get the hell out of there. Just, I don't know. That's what I tend to do. If someone's getting up too close behind me, it's just to floor it, so to speak. Actually happened to me once on my ER6. You know this. I was travelling to go see a mate, and there was I was travelling on the outside lane. I was doing around about 80 miles an hour on the speedo, so around about 76 miles an hour, 77 miles an hour. And there was a BMW Beamer that was in the outside lane, and they were getting awfully close to me. They were catching up to me, and they got to a point where they were matching my speed, and then they just stayed there. And I was like, well, I'm not going to take this, so I just pulled the throttle back and just legged it. And then when we got to the roundabout at the end of the dual carriageway, it turns out it was unmarked police cars, and they were like going, "Oi, slow down, mate." I was thinking to myself, well, come on, you were like pulling, you were quickly gaining speed up behind me, and all of a sudden, like, what am I supposed to do? But I don't know. That's my normal reaction if someone tries to tailgate me, is just to get out of there. But anyway, right, let's have a look. So we got some more message in here. 125 guy. When drivers see a motorbike filtering and they move into the white lane to block you. Yes, that happens so much. For some reason, drivers do not like you filtering. They don't like motorcycles filtering. Even though it's perfectly legal in the UK, people don't like it. And I've had people like screaming and shouting at me for filtering. I'm like, what? There's gridlock traffic. I'm allowed to do this. But yeah, you see that all too often, unfortunately. People just don't like it. It's one of those things. Longworth UK, my reaction to phone users while driving, just shake my head and ride on. Never engage car versus bike. It never turns out well. No, exactly. There's no point. There's absolutely no point. All it takes is the driver to just take one slight move of the steering wheel and they've knocked you off. And it's like, well, was the confrontation worth it at that point? No, probably not.
You never know who's driving, do you?
Exactly. You could just have someone these obnoxious people that just don't care about your safety or even their own safety for that matter, and just wipe you out, and they just keep on driving. I mean, I suppose in that situation it's a hit and run technically, but who's really lost at that point? You have, as the rider, you've lost. Like, what's the damage on their car going to be? Oh, a couple of scratches, maybe a dent. Your bike's on the ground, fairing completely scratched up, handlebars probably knocked off to oblivion, and you might end up with a broken leg or something, or worse.
Broken leg is probably the best case scenario,
right,
isn't it?
Right. So, yeah, silly, but there you go. Let's have a look here. Yeah, Lone Wolf UK says, you're so right, 125 guy happens to me a lot. Yeah, about filtering.
Yeah. Being
blocked filtering. Yeah. Lone Wolf UK, warming your tyres, it works though, especially on the bike that I ride. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if there's any way that you can tell a driver to kind of back off from tailgating you that isn't obnoxious or isn't confrontational, that's probably the best way. You see a lot of riders turning around and looking at the drivers and flipping them off or something, or going like slow down, go away, that kind of thing. And it's like, come on, it's a bit intimidating. You don't need to do that. And if you do that, well, again, like you're saying, you don't know who the driver is behind you. They might just keep doing it, or maybe even start doing it even worse. So yeah, trying to find ways of stopping them from tailgating is ideal, but without confrontation. Yeah, Lone Wolf UK, some drivers have shouted at me for filtering, saying it's not legal. Yep. I think we've all been there. It's one of those typical things that it's just ignorant people. Yeah, but unless you're a biker yourself, or even a cyclist, if you're a cyclist, then you probably know filtering rules already, because cyclists are allowed to filter as well, even though that is really annoying.
It is really annoying.
And that's a pretty good segue onto just thinking along these same lines, is cyclists on not single track roads, but one road going forward, one road going behind you. Yeah, single carriageways. I you know what I mean. And you've got like a cyclist that you overtake. So you overtake a cyclist, no problem, absolutely fine. You hit a red light, and the cyclist undertakes you, filters, they undertake you all the way to the red light, and then so when the light turns green again, you've got to try and overtake them again. And there are so many roads like that around here locally, where they're all 30-mile-an-hour roads. They're roads that are very, very busy, roads that are constantly like rush hour almost. So trying to find spaces to overtake cyclists is really, really difficult. And when you've spent, I don't know, a mile, half a mile following a cyclist, you get your chance to overtake them, then you hit a red light, and then you got to try and overtake them again along the same road. That annoys me.
Yeah.
But they're allowed to do it. Really? There's nothing stopping them from doing it.
Do you know what annoys me about cyclists? That and this happened, I think I've mentioned it already.
Oh, but sorry, I should specify, in a car, by the way. On a motorcycle, it's easy because you can just overtake them and filter them, and you're fine. But in a car, on these kinds of roads, it makes it impossible. Sorry, what were you saying?
So I was out, oh gosh, how long ago was this? Probably pre-Christmas, but in the winter. And I was in my car, and I came up to a roundabout, and the next thing I see is a cyclist in all black coming off the pavement, hitting and basically going onto the road to go around the roundabout. And this car came round the roundabout, didn't see the cyclist, and was like beeping its horn and stuff. And I thought that guy could have got himself killed because he went from the pavement. I don't think he even looked. He went from the pavement and literally just went straight into the road to go around the roundabout, and that annoys me. Like,
Yeah.
either stay on the pavement or stay on the road.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to go onto the road, do it safely.
And as well, you get cyclists that do the same thing where they will, they'll be on the road when it's convenient for them, but then when there's a red light or something, they will go onto the pavement, skip the lights, and then just keep going. That I don't think is legal.
I don't know.
I think now with the recent rule changes that they've had in the highway code, I don't think that's legal. I think cyclists have to follow road traffic signals now, like everyone else does. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, people don't care, do they? I suppose.
No.
Right. So just before we had that little break for the chat here, thank you guys, by the way, for your contributions to the chat. Always appreciated. So you talk about indicating. People never indicate. Well, I say never. It feels like never. They never indicate when they're going around roundabouts. So, okay. In the UK, you are taught that if you are going left, so first exit on a roundabout, you tick off your indicator to go left, and then off you go. If you're going straight on, or second exit on the roundabout, you don't indicate, and then when you reach your exit, you indicate off. Yes. And then if you're going right, or third exit, or fourth exit, I mean, it does depend a little bit on some of the roundabouts and how they're designed, but usually if you're going around the roundabout and you're going to exit on the third exit, or you're going to do a complete U-turn and take the fourth exit, you should be indicating right around the roundabout. There are so many people that don't indicate when they're going right around the roundabout. So many people. So I'm there waiting to join the roundabout. And I think to myself, oh, here's a good opportunity, because this person is indicating, i.e. telling me that they intend to go straight on, not to cut across in front of me. But lo and behold, that's what they do. They end up cutting across in front of me, and I'm there, ready to go, and then I have to stop because this person hasn't indicated, and they're just following around the roundabout, and then they're taking the third exit. And I try to like do this to kind of tell them to use their indicators. They don't listen.
Probably thinking that you want them to flash them.
No, honestly, or they probably think I'm waving hello to them or something stupid like
going,
that.
I don't know you.
But I don't know how else. I don't know how else to indicate to tell someone to use their indicators.
It's like people who drive at night without their lights on.
Okay, that's slightly different, because most people, the vast majority of people, don't want to be driving around in the dark without their lights on. So a lot of the time, especially in certain car models like Fords, where the dashboard is always illuminated. So when you get into your car, you think your lights are on because the dashboard's illuminated when it's not. So you have to make sure that you turn your lights on. I mean, it's made easier nowadays because you've got automatic lights and stuff. But yeah, that is something that I think is explainable and excusable to an extent, because most people don't want to be driving around in the dark without any lights on. But anyway,
you see it though.
Say again.
You see it though.
Yeah. So people go around roundabouts, and I see this especially on mini roundabouts. Why is a mini roundabout different to any other roundabout? It isn't. It's the same. It's a roundabout, but people should be in like if you're coming up to a side road, and you have to cut across oncoming traffic to reach the side road. So what you would do is you'd indicate right.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, all of these people would indicate right in that situation, but for some reason, when they hit a mini roundabout, they won't indicate right. They won't. I don't know why. You're doing the exact same thing. You are turning in a right direction. You should be indicating because you're cutting across traffic, or if you're on a mini roundabout, there are people waiting to go, and if you are not going to go in that direction, then why don't you tell me you're going? I don't know. Anyway, going off on one there.
I have my own problems with roundabouts. It's not on my list, but
I've funnily enough, all the things I got today are about roundabouts. But we'll move on to your next one, because I think you're on number 4 now, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't one that I've got listed, but I was driving yesterday and I got to a roundabout and I said to my mum, I said, no one knows who should be bloody going. You look to the right. Are they going? No.
Nobody knows.
And this car came to a stop at the exit, and then this bus appeared, and I could see this bus wasn't there to start with, so I just went. I thought, I'm not just sitting around and waiting for you to figure out what you're doing.
Yeah, when you get to that situation where there are cars on every single side, or every single entrance of the roundabout, no one knows who has right of way, it all just comes down to one person just breaking the stalemate, if you like. Most of the time in that situation, it's me, because I just,
I was like, the thing is, I was taking the first exit, so I wasn't going round. I wasn't going to cause any problems. And I was like, I don't want to be sitting in my car just like when people decide that who's going to go.
Yeah.
The rules of the road. It's not, gentleman's club, is it? Anyway, right. So my number 4 is when I am in a lane and my indicator is on and I'm slowing down to turn and someone moves into the lane behind me at speed.
Yeah, so you're talking about on a dual carriageway there, aren't you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so quite nearby where we live, there's a dual carriageway where there are side roads that you turn into, and it's a 40 mile an hour dual carriageway. So people aren't exactly going slow, but there are lots and lots of left turns to make. There aren't any lights or anything like that. People would make lots and lots of left turns, and you do get, because again, it's happened to me as well, where you're indicating left, so you start slowing down, getting ready to make your turn, and then someone in the outside lane, for no apparent reason, decides to scoot in behind you. And it's like the person behind them had plenty of space. I mean, well, that's another thing as well, when people don't give you space when you're trying to make these turns, and they're already in your lane. But when you do have sensible people that are hanging back, understanding that you are intending to make a turn, not a roundabout or anything, just a turn into a side road, that, to give you some room. But no, there are these people that will try and cut in behind you for literally no reason. The outside lane will be completely free. They can continue going in that lane. They, if they're going straight on, they don't have to move into your lane, but they just do.
They do.
Even though you're indicating for, I don't know, 100 meters or so, 100, 200 meters or so, you're indicating well in advance of having to make the turn. And people do that. Yeah, I totally get that.
It's really annoying because you suddenly look in your rearview mirror and there's this car coming into your lane at some speed, and I just think... Yeah.
And they're really close to you.
And I think I like the end of my car the way it is right now, but... And this is... that certain roads like that as well, the best thing people can do is, if they're in the lane behind me, is move over if they can, because they can keep going. I haven't got the pressure of trying to make a turn, especially if it's quite a sharp turn, in my car. There's just no need. Just give me the space to make my turn.
But again, I mean, we're talking about people not indicating. When people are indicating, heed that warning that they're planning to make they're planning to go that particular direction. Why else would someone have their indicator on? Either they're looking to park up or they're making a turn.
But even if someone's left their indicator on by accident, you shouldn't treat it like,
no.
They're not turning.
No.
I mean, it really, really irritates me because it's happened today. It happened today.
Honestly, around here where we live, it happens all the time. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, with those people that are indicating and they don't realise they're indicating, if it's on a dual carriageway, like what we're referring to, you don't have to go into their lane. You can stay on the other side of them, just in case they decide to turn. But no, that's not what people are like. People want to be on that lane because reasons unknown to human beings.
Yes.
There you go. All right. Do you want me to reveal my last one, or do you want to do your last one?
I can do... I don't mind. Do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, do yours.
Okay.
Why not?
So this is one that I actually got from my dad.
From your dad, okay.
It's something that my dad experienced recently, and oh my gosh, did he go off on a tangent. But also something that I can completely agree with. So people who have prams or people who have dogs on extendable leads, letting them go in the road before they've checked.
Yeah,
so my dad...
Just push the kid out first.
The pram goes. So my dad rides BMW, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And he was taken out for a ride, and he called me, and he said that he was going down this road, residential area, and this dog on extendable lead comes out and gets halfway across the road before the owner even makes an appearance. And my dad was just like, it's almost like the person was like, here, dog, go test it's free, and then I'll follow.
Honestly, this reminds me of a time when I was playing airsoft. This was well before COVID, and we were like in a kill zone where there's a bunch of us, and we were waiting to go, but we didn't know how many enemies were there. So the dad, he was just like, yeah, just send in the kid in first. Let him get shot up first, so we know exactly where the enemy are. But oh god, it was so funny.
But you get between cars, people push their pushchair out in between parked cars, and this pushchair suddenly appears, and it's got a child in it more often than not.
Yep.
And my dad actually said, my dad's not a bad person, but he actually said he had to choose between whether to hit the dog or skip the bike.
It is a horrible decision.
The dog was fine, but my dad did actually give a lot of expletives, which he thinks that person heard because they looked at him in some shock afterwards. And my dad doesn't usually swear, but when he does, it's so funny.
It's totally true though. Like, oh, the dog's indestructible. It's fine. Oh god, the pram is indestructible. It's fine. Just push it out into the road.
The thing is, when I walk in this one, what I do is I tell him to stop, and then I walk into the road to check.
Well, yeah, and whenever we're walking him on the road, we have him on quite a tight leash anyway.
Yeah, we do.
Just in case. I mean, he's okay usually. He sticks quite close to us, even when he's off the lead and in the park or what have you. He normally sticks quite close to us, which is pretty good.
As you can tell, he does like to be around us, doesn't he?
Yeah, but there are lots of dogs that they'll just wander off and they'll do their own thing. So it's down to the owner, and it's their responsibility to make sure their dog's safe. But
yeah, and I just that really irritates me. You suddenly see some pushchair wheels, or you see a nose of a dog coming out, and I'm just thinking, like, how much control has that person even got over this situation right now? Because it's going to end badly for somebody.
Yep.
And especially if you're in a car and you do happen to look down just to answer a phone call or whatever, that's all it takes. Mm-hmm. Or if you're looking down to check your speedo on your bike. Yeah, so that's one of my absolute pet hates. To the point that, it's awful. It's really awful.
Lone Wolf UK, I think everyone wanting to drive cars should be put on a motorcycle CBT first. Preach that, brother. Oh my god. Because then at least it gives drivers the opportunity to experience how vulnerable you are on a bike whilst you're learning to drive it. It'll give you a whole new perspective.
Yeah, vulnerable is the perfect word. On
safety, doesn't it? Yeah, preach that. Lone Wolf UK, extendable leads near road, doesn't love his dog very much. No, I don't suppose they do. But
we've got to the point where with him, we can say we're crossing and he stops. Or now, when he now stops, doesn't he? So we've got him.
He gets to the side of the road, or if we're crossing a road, he'll get to the edge of the curb and he'll stop there on his own now. Which is pretty good. Yeah.
And he doesn't go until we say go, and then I've even I've taught him the phrase quickly, so he runs across the road, which can actually be to my detriment when he starts to pull and I have to go run with him.
Yeah,
but,
of course.
Extendable leads are my bane anyway. I don't like them anyway.
I mean, so. I've seen people with extendable leads on big dogs like Alsatians, Labradors, Golden Retrievers, whatever, and they will have a lead that's like no thicker than fishing wire, and then all of a sudden the dog just charges in a particular direction and it just breaks. It's like, well, that's just typical, isn't it?
It snaps. Typical. The lead snaps, and I've had that with him and a husky, and that was not fun.
Yeah.
So but I digress.
Absolutely. All right. So
the
very last one is okay. Now, I'll just come out and say it. This is kind of like I think what we've been talking about is driver ignorance for the most part, where they don't realise they're doing something wrong. And it's the exact same case with spiral roundabouts.
Spiral roundabouts?
Spiral roundabouts.
Is that roundabout, like a succession of roundabouts in a row?
No. So I'll see if I can bring up the roundabout that I am thinking of here quickly, because it's a pretty big roundabout. All right, let's have a look here. But anyone that knows a spiral roundabout will know exactly what I'm talking about. This one. So I'll put it in satellite view as well. Okay, right, here we go. Let's move over to. Oh, that's a logo. That's
Harley Davidson.
That's from the last week's show. All right. So a spiral roundabout. Hopefully you guys can see that. But what happens is, so you've got 3 lanes here joining the roundabout, and there are also other dots on the road like these.
Those.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that?
Yep.
So in this instance here, hopefully you guys can see the mouse cursor as well. What we've got is, so if I'm here on the right hand side and I intend to join the roundabout, so I join the roundabout, and then you can see that these dots here, they continue. So my travel should be inside those lines there. But you get so many people on this lane, in this right hand lane, that think it's okay to merge across to the other lane. What they don't realise is those markings are not they are for them to stay in the lane.
Yeah.
They're for them to stay in the lane. But let's go on to the other side of the roundabout here. So if I'm on the right hand side here, again you can see the dots, look. You can see the dots there. So I'm joining the roundabout, I follow it, and look, it's spiralling me into the middle lane. Yeah? So then I keep going on my travel, and look, we've got these dots here. These are the dots that you can cross. These ones. Because you're in the middle lane still.
Yeah.
And it follows you all the way around. All the way around in the middle lane. It follows you. Yeah, so it's supposed to guide you. But there are so many times where I've seen, say, for example, this lorry here in this maps illustration. So they've got this lorry here that's traveling in its lane as it's supposed to, so in the middle lane where it's supposed to be. But then you've got the car here on the inside, or on the outside, traveling across, and then they start to try and merge into the middle lane when they're supposed to be following the inside of the roundabout. And honestly, the amount of close calls I've seen from that is absolutely ridiculous. Because you're not expecting it. You're in your lane, you're following your lane, going around this big roundabout, and there's someone that doesn't quite understand how spiral roundabouts work. They'll see the dotted lines, thinking, oh, that means that I can move across into this middle lane here. No, it's not. It's a guide for you to keep going in the direction you are going.
Yeah.
And it only applies... those dots only apply if you're already in the right lane. So, I mean, and the lane positioning is already determined here. So you're in the outside, or the inside, the outside lane here, and then you move straight on to the inside of the roundabout, and then it automatically brings you into the middle lane here. That is how spiral roundabouts work. So this is if you are intending to go straight on, if you intend to go straight on, or if you intend to go around the roundabout here, this is what this lane is for. So you can follow the lane out this way, or you can follow the lane all the way around. But it also gives you the choice of being able to stay as close to the roundabout as you like. Yeah. Now I understand that these kind of roundabouts are stupid in the way they're designed, because it's not easy for people to understand them. I get that. I think anyone that encounters a roundabout like that one for the very first time is going to be completely bamboozled about which lane they need to be in, what the dots on the road mean. I know, because I was one of those people. When I approached that roundabout for the first time, or roundabouts like this for the first time, I just didn't understand where it is I need to go, I knew where I need to go, but I didn't know how it was I need to get there over this roundabout. So, I mean, this for me is partly stupidity of councils in the way they have designed such roundabouts, but at the same time, all you have to do is stay in your lane. Stay in the road markings. As long as you stay in the road markings, you're not going to have any problems. And look, it's hardly an excuse, because let's have a look here. Look, you got the arrows, and it tells you what road that they lead to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this road leads to the A417, and it also says it here.
Yeah.
A417, A417. So as long as you're looking on the road and you know which road you're trying to take, then all you have to do is just stay in that lane.
And there's probably a sign as well to
say, yeah, of course,
the roundabout's coming up.
It does, but I find that sometimes signage is more confusing.
Mm.
With these markings on the road, if you understand your roads and you're going somewhere that you don't recognize or something, then at least try and remember the roads you need to be on. So things like A roads, make sure you know which A roads you need to be on. Or if you're on a motorway, know what M road you need to be on.
Yeah.
But as long as you follow that, if you follow the guides on the road, it's really, really straightforward. At least once you get your head around it, anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I understand that they are complicated, and they probably don't need to be that complicated. But that's how councils have decided to design certain roundabouts.
And now they've started making the hamburger roundabouts as well. The hamburger and spiral roundabouts.
It's actually a little bit further up, actually.
In one, aren't they?
Here you go. I don't know if Google Maps would have updated. Oh, it has. There you go. That's the hamburger roundabout right there. I mean, I kind of respect the fact that they are trying to find new ways to ease congestion.
I'm amazed it works the way it does, though, to be fair.
I don't know. I don't know if it's working or not. I mean, that roundabout there is notorious for being busy. Notorious for being busy, but there you go. So, yeah, I mean, that for me, the only reason why it's on my number one is because of how catastrophic the potential is. I wouldn't even have the foggiest how many accidents happen on that roundabout every single year, just because people don't understand the road layout. And I get it. I get why that happens, because the road layout is stupid. I totally understand. But at the same time, people switching lanes. I mean, I've said this to you a lot of times about drifting in different lanes and stuff like that on roundabouts. As long as you stay in the two white lines that you were originally in when you came onto the roundabout, you're going to be fine. Yeah. You're going to be absolutely fine. But when you start moving from one lane to another, wrong. Don't do that. But the fact that people do it without even realizing that there's traffic behind them. Yeah. Or traffic to the side of them. I mean, to be fair, if you're to the side of one of these people that tries to merge into, say, the middle lane when they're on the right-hand lane on the roundabout, then I suppose being side by side with them is actually best, because you are forcing them to stay exactly where they are. Yeah. But if you are slightly behind them, then that's when they're going to try and merge in there without even realizing. But yeah, I don't know. That's just my thing. All of my stuff has been about roundabouts, actually, which is funny.
It has.
Isn't it? All of my points today have been about roundabouts. So, yeah. Yeah, very, very, very interesting. And I don't know. A lot of the time, it probably depends on the driver / rider's experience, how long they've been doing it for. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You end up going to a different part of the country where the council design roads differently to where you're used to, and you're pretty much back at square one again in understanding how roads work. It's like I was saying earlier about, if you want to turn left at a roundabout, you stay on the left hand side, you indicate left, right? If you want to go right, then you want to go on the right hand side. But if you want to go straight on at a roundabout, then you stay on the left hand side. You don't indicate. You go around there and then straight on. Some roundabouts don't work like that. No. In the way how you're kind of taught when you do like your theory test and stuff like that, and your practical test. That's how you're taught to understand these roundabouts. But there are certain roundabouts that don't work like that. And it's like, well, come on, man, you're moving the goalposts. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so that's just me. But right, let's have a look at the chat here. See what you guys have been up to. Right. Lone Wolf UK. My collie is well trained, but it's a what if factor. And if she sees a rabbit, cat, or another dog, and she wants to see up close, yeah, this guy's exactly the same. If he sees another dog or a cat or something on the opposite side of the road, we find it difficult stopping him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we like to keep him quite close to us anyway when we're doing road walking.
We have a bungee lead for him now, don't we? As opposed to extendable leads.
Yeah, but bungee lead and a harness for the little one. And, yeah, it works a treat. But, yeah, it's it's a bit of a worry when we drop the lead or something or he slips out of our grasp and he just darts into the direction of something that he's interested in.
He ran... I accidentally dropped his lead and he ran from me, but to be fair, he ran up to a Westie and the lady, she was really good and she didn't try and spook him because we were next to a dual carriageway. Yeah. But yeah, it is a worry. You never know. You never know what causes dogs to do what they do.
That's it. Yeah, and like Lone Wolf was saying, even with a well-trained dog, sometimes there are certain stimulus that
they just can't overcome.
Where they're just unpredictable in some ways.
Yeah, they just have to do what they need to do. Yeah.
I mean, well, my uncle had a pit bull, and he had this pit bull for 10 years. 10. I can't remember when it died. It died a few years ago now, I think.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, it had this dog for 10 years, and within the last year of having this dog, it decided to attack another dog randomly. Decided to attack another dog, and he had no problems with this dog whatsoever. And he'd been training it and what have you, looking after it, doing all the proper stuff. And even then, you know, it still turned on another dog, unfortunately. And sometimes that's just how it is with dogs. They can be unpredictable.
I could talk for hours about dogs. So I'll be quiet now.
Me too. Yeah. Excuse me if I get your name wrong there. Suvro Paul, what's the furthest distance on a bike that you've travelled on, and what bike was it on? So the longest distance that I've been was around about 200 miles, and that was on the ER6 that I had before, and it was a good ride. And of course, the ER6 was quite an easygoing rider. You know, sitting quite upright, had a nice comfy seat. I mean, if you don't know what an ER6 is, it's basically what a Ninja 650 is today. Really easy ride, and I got really good fuel economy, I think, for the time as well. For a 650 parallel twin, it was pretty good. Only had to have one rest stop.
No, it's good.
In between the travel. It was pretty good going, to be honest. I've been on journeys around about 100 miles or so on the ZZR 1400, nowhere near as long as the ER6 that I had before. But I am planning on doing some road trips, maybe with the wife as well, on her little Ninja 125, and just see how we get on with that, either on the ZZR or on the ZH2. My inkling is the ZH2 is going to be a much easier ride over long distances, just because you're sitting really upright and in that really comfy position. Whereas ZZR, you are in a traditional sport bike position, so it's going to be harder to do long distances, for me at least anyway, on the ZZR. But yeah, still a really good ride because of how comfy the seat is. I think that's a lot of the times I think manufacturers miss the importance of the seat. Like, I'll give you an example. Kawasaki recently have been doing lots and lots of really hard seats on their touring line motorcycles. If they just fit the seat on the ZZR on one of those touring bikes, oh my god, it will transform it completely. You know what I'm talking about, because it was when we test rode the Z1000 SX about a couple of years ago, and the seat was so hard. Yeah, okay, you can get like replacement aftermarket seats and what have you,
but you don't want to buy a new seat.
But from stock, you'd expect them to have a nice comfy seat, and on the ZZR, that is the best part about that bike is the seat.
Oh, it's so comfy.
Even though you're in that sport bike position, you're leaning forward, that seat is wonderful.
Yeah.
But
I've only, as a pillion, I've gone about 70 miles. As a rider, I've only done about 40. So, yeah. But
Lone Wolf UK, do you think the powers that be create these dangerous roads to cause chaos on purpose? More tax for speeding, accidents, and insurance policies? Just a wild thought. I love a good conspiracy theory. I think it's just pure incompetence. That, you know, the way how some of these roads are designed. Like, you know these roads have been designed by people that don't use them. You know? So it's that's my guess. I mean, that's the thing. I don't know how this process works with road design. Is it councilmen that design the roads, or do they hire a company to design road layouts and things like that for them? I don't know. I mean, you thought if they kind of outsourced the design of roads and things like that to some firm, that they do a better job of some of these roads that they've made. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to save a buck and they just think, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just whack that on there. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, I certainly do think that about speed cameras, though. Speed cameras are almost certainly a bit of a cash cow for councils, local governments, and what have you, for sure, without a doubt. They always say, oh, it's not about making money. It's like, yeah, it bloody well is. Yeah, so that's yeah, I don't know. Lone Wolf UK, come to the lake sometime. Let me show you around. I mean, I don't know if you were here earlier on the show, but that's where I was past couple of days. I did a travel with work, and I was in Cumbria for a couple of days doing work there, and very, very nice area, I have to say. The ranges and stuff are wonderful. So I'd certainly, well, we're actually going back there in July, aren't we? Because my brother-in-law, wife's brother, is he lives in Cumbria, around the Lake District, and so yeah, we're going to see it all again in July. So looking forward to that. But yeah, thank you for your invitation. You never know, one day we might take you up on that.
Yeah. Let's see some green, just speeding around.
Yeah, that's it. So for Paul, what are your thoughts on the discontinuation of the 600cc segment? I'm really disappointed, personally. Before I had my ZH2, I had a CBR 600RR, and honestly, that bike was really good. I loved that motorcycle. I know there's a lot of criticism and things around the power band and what have you, and the usability of 600cc sport bikes, but I loved it. You like that bike as well. You didn't like pillion riding on it, but you liked it as well.
I liked the look of it. Yeah, I thought it was gorgeous.
But from a rider's perspective, I thought it was a fantastic machine, and I really enjoyed reaching that power band, because a 600 then turned into a 1 litre almost, with the power output that it has right at the top end of that rev range. But of course, it's not really usable on the roads these days. But yeah, I don't know. I really love 600cc sport bikes personally, and it is a real shame that that unfortunately, I'm absolutely certain that all these companies would want to continue producing and selling these bikes, but it's all just because of emission standards, that they can't seem to find a way of making these high performance small engine motorcycles anymore that fit in one of these 600 bikes. So I don't know. It's one of those things. But yeah, no, I on my radar is a 636 Ninja at some point. So, because luckily there's still a used market around that we can find 600cc bikes at the moment. So I'm going to try and make the most of it whilst I still can in the next 4 or 5 years or so, maybe. Because I would like to maybe have a track bike as well. But I mean, that's something I haven't really thought about in that much detail. It's something I would like to do, but there's not really many racetracks around here. I think the closest one is Donington Park, maybe even Silverstone. I don't know. We live quite far away from all the big racetracks.
Yeah, Thruxton.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just gosh,
but
almost lost the dog.
Yeah, it's one of those things I'd like to try getting into if I can, and a 636 Ninja I think would be a good platform for that kind of hobby. But yeah, I think that will do for today's show, guys and gals. Thank you ever so much for watching, and thank you ever so much for your engagement in the chat. We really, really appreciate everything you've had to say. And thank you ever so much. Wifey, do you have any closing remarks or anything else you'd like to say before we sign off?
Nothing you haven't said? No?
No? Cool. Right, yeah, we're going to chill out the rest of the evening, I think. Sit down and watch some telly. Chill out a bit. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well, guys and gals. And yeah, we will catch you all in next week's show. Remember, there's going to be a new release tomorrow as well. So our new release schedule for videos is Mondays and Fridays, and the live show, of course, on Thursdays, as you already know. So yeah, three releases per week, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so for those of you who are watching the video tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow. For those of you that we won't see till next week's live show, I hope you have a good weekend. And yeah, we'll see you all next Thursday.